Okay, so today I want to talk about something that happened to me about a month and a half ago. It was November 1st, and I was sexually assaulted. I wasn't like raped or anything, so I don't know, but like it was still sexual assault, and I want to talk about what happened and just like how I feel on the matter and stuff like that. So here we go. Okay, so we met on Tinder, and I don't know, I guess I was a little naive and I had a good beforehand because I actually met my last boyfriend from Tinder. I mean, we're no longer dating, but he was like this awesome guy. I can only like speak highly of him. He is a great person. But anyways, yeah, so not every guy on Tinder is some like dream come true because a lot of them are sketchy people. But anyways, yeah, so we decided that at his apartment place we were gonna go hot tubbing, and so we did that, and it was like at night, and so there weren't like a whole lot of people there, and we were like getting to know each other and stuff, and he was saying how like, oh yeah, I travel like everywhere and stuff like that, and I love traveling, like I've been to Europe and stuff like that. It's really cool. But anyways, so he was talking about that, and then he actually went to my high school, which is kind of weird. Because, like, I recognized him, but I couldn't really. It was like a really faded recognized kind of thing, you know? But he was like, I totally recognized you and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, whatever, yeah. And then after that, we were going to watch a movie. So we went into his apartment dorm, and he took like the TV from his living room into his room, which was weird, but I was like, well, whatever. People hang out in rooms and stuff. But sorry. The room was like only big enough for his bed. It was like a really small room. But yeah, it was like there was the door and then there was his bed. It was a really big bed. And then there was like this little shelf and his little TV, and there was like cool lights everywhere, like Christmas lights and stuff like that. So it was a cool room. And then we decided to watch the second season of Stranger Things. And then like we were just sitting there, and the farthest I wanted to go that night was maybe like cuddling, cuz I think you have to like take some time to get to know someone before you just go like dive right in, you know? So I didn't feel comfortable with anything else beyond that. And so we were watching and we were like kind of cuddling, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is cool. I mean, he's a cute guy, whatever." And then let's see, I'm trying to remember what happened. He was like talking with me. We were like talking during the movie and whatever. And like he'd like stop and look at me for a second and kind of like looked at my lips. But then I was just like, nope. And I kept like watching TV. So I don't, I don't know. I kind of rejected him in that way, but I'm pretty sure like that was noticeable. But then like I turned back to him to like say something, and then he just like started like making out with me, and I wasn't comfortable with it. But the thing is, I feel like I let it happen. Like I didn't really know what was going on at first. I was like kind of like trying to process, but it wasn't like going fast enough, so we were just kissing. It was like my body was on autopilot, but my brain was like kind of freaking out but didn't really know what was going on. So like he was making out with me, and then he like started laying on top of me, and I couldn't like move. I mean, I didn't struggle, but like I if I did, I wouldn't have been able to move. He was like on top of me. And then um yeah, he was like doing all sorts of things, like biting my neck and like touching like my breasts and crotch and stuff like that, which I wasn't okay with, but okay, let's see. I didn't say no, but I didn't say yes. And there were times when like I would stiffen and like not know what to do, and like or maybe like turn my head or something, and he'd be like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I said nothing. I don't know why I did that, but then he just kept on going. But like I was really uncomfortable and I didn't know what to do. And then like at one point he had like his hand like on my throat, and like it was probably just like out of some act of passion or whatever, but like it was really firm, and it made me uncomfortable because I don't know, like what if he squoze or something. And so I was like really shaken, and I can't even remember like all the details because I don't know, it's like kind of hard to remember. But I do know that every time he was kissing me, I dissociated from it. I was not in the moment. I was like either thinking about all the parts of the movie we were watching, or it was almost like I was just like watching us kiss. Cause like, it's kind of weird, but I didn't want to like tell him I was uncomfortable because that would make him uncomfortable. Like, which is not a normal mindset to have. I don't really know why I thought that way, but I did. Yeah, and then afterwards it was, no, let's see. Oh yeah, I remember something that happened. At like midnight, I told him like I wanted to leave, and he's like, "No, you can't like stay and whatever." And so I didn't know what to do, so I just stayed, and I was like watching the movie. And then he fell asleep on me, and he was snoring, and I freaking hate snoring. It's like the most annoying noise ever. So he was like on me, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move. Like I just wanted to leave. Like I was miserable. And then finally, like an hour later, he woke up, and I was like, "I'm leaving." Okay, because I need to go to bed. And so he was finally like, I don't know, he was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." Um, so he walked me out to like the end of the hall or whatever, and he said, "Where'd you park your car?" And I was like, "Oh, I just walked," because my apartment was like on the other side of the street. Um, so he just like left me there and was like, "Okay, bye," and kissed me. And so I walked home alone in the dark, like at 1 o'clock. And yeah, it was pretty miserable. And then I took a shower, and then I cried for a little bit. Yeah, but then like after that, I started telling a bunch of people, like trying to figure out what happened to me. Like I talked with friends and family, and like I told them the story. And I was like, "Is this sexual harassment? Is it like I don't understand what happened to me? Was it just like a bad experience because I didn't say anything?" But eventually I came to the consensus from one of my roommates that was actually raped multiple times. She told me that it was sexual assault because it was like unwanted physical contact. Um, that's like a really simple version. I can't remember like the whole thing, but like non-consensual like sexual contact or whatever, and that did happen. So yeah, then I was like, "Oh, this is sexual assault. That's kind of a big thing." And I didn't know what his intentions were. I didn't know like if they were malicious, or if like he didn't know that I was uncomfortable, uncomfortable or something. I didn't really know. But so I eventually reported it on my university website, and I like wrote the whole story. And then some lady was like, "Okay, meet with me at this time." And so I met with her, and we talked like through our options of what we could do, and there are like some different things. But then like after that meeting, I like never heard back from her again. Like I emailed her several times, but she never got back with me, so that was really annoying. But now I'm just like, whatever, it happened. And I actually like I unblocked his number, and I got his number back, the guy, and I texted him, and I was like, I wanted to know his intentions. And so I was texting him all these things like, "Did you want to have sex with me that night?" Or like, "What were you thinking?" and stuff like that. And basically he said that he didn't know I was uncomfortable, and if he did, he would have stopped. And so that made me feel pretty horrible because I was not okay with anything that was happening, but I just didn't say anything. So there were a lot of hard things that I had to like work through in my head, just because I don't know, that's not something you want to hear. It's not your typical like story where something bad happens and they were a bad person and so they get the justice that they deserve. No, this is like a lot more like subtle and confusing and kind of like hard to work through, or all of them are hard to work through, but like hard to work through what exactly happened, you know? So yeah, that wasn't like the best time in my life. Yeah, but then after that, I kind of just like made my peace with it and was like, it happened. I'll just move on from here. And I don't use Tinder anymore because I think Tinder is kind of scary. But there are some things that happened to me in result of like this experience. Like every time I'm walking around at campus at night, even if I have my pepper spray with me, any guys that are like walking around me or behind me or whatever, like I feel really uncomfortable and I feel kind of like scared, and it's not fun. Like I get paranoid, and there are these people up at campus that can give you an escort if you call them, but I haven't I haven't used them yet, which I think I will eventually. So that's what happened, and I just want to say that consent is enthusiastic. It's like you have to say yes to it. Um, like both people have to say yes, and it doesn't matter if you don't say anything, or if you don't say no. That's not consent, because or if like the body language, like if it's a nod or something, that doesn't really count either technically. Oh yeah, and it has to be sober. You have to be sober to consent. Um, yeah, there's a lot of other things, but I've been like doing my research on this stuff, especially since this happened to me, because I didn't really know anything about this before this experience happened, and so I think it's good that it did happen in a way so that I could like learn more about that kind of stuff and be more educated, because it's super important. Like a ton of people don't know what consent is or what sexual harassment is compared to sexual assault or like stuff like that. So yeah, do your research, be safe, people. Yeah, and if you do decide to have sex, wear a condom, because I don't want any people getting pregnant if they don't want to, because that would be kind of messy. So yeah, that's all I got to say. Yep.